Hi, Ken Walls. Welcome to DigiLEAD TV. Today we are going to be talking about how to hire like a boss. I've been in business for the better part of my adult life, quite frankly, in various businesses. And one of the biggest challenges I've had in my, we'll start with this company, Client Solution Innovations. Biggest challenges I've had in scaling my business is finding the right people, the right team members, getting the right people in. And I think that is actually, from everything I've ever heard from any other business owner or CEO, I think that one of the biggest challenges for business owners is hiring the right people. It doesn't matter, admin or creative people or administrative work or salespeople. Salespeople is a whole nother beast that we're going to kind of try to talk about here a little bit. But I've had some significant challenges with bringing on the right people, and I have theories of my own behind it. I mean, I have a very, very high work ethic, and I have a high kind of a bar that I set for everybody. And sometimes it's hard to expect everybody to operate on the same level that I do. And so, through my networking and the people that I've been connected with, including Grant Cardone and some other people, I've been blessed and fortunate to connect with a guy that is funnier than hell, number one. but the other thing is he is the author of a best-selling book on Amazon and probably other places, but he's the author of a book called The Naked Interview, and I'm holding up my copy here too, David. But so David Lee Jensen is the guest I have on today, and David Lee Jensen is. I'm going to let him kind of give you his resume. He's a writer. The guy's unbelievable, and he is definitely, without a doubt, the hiring expert. So, David, here in the first segment, I'd like to have you introduce yourself and kind of talk about, if you would, some of the challenges you hear businesses talk about, their problems. So, without any further from me, let's go with David.
Hey, Ken, how are you? Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it. Quite the introduction. I don't know exactly what to say, except that, I wrote this book. I was really blessed to have it become an Amazon #1 bestseller, The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. And it grew organically through business owners reading it and telling others. And I've met people on airplanes who have been like, "Oh, I read your book." And I've been really blessed to do a lot of huge speaking engagements with, sharing the stage with people like Arianna Huffington. I write for the Huffington Post, Sir Richard Branson, all sorts of individuals. I know you're a big follower and one of those guys, Grant Cardone and the 10X rule. And, just really, really get the message out that you can hire the right person the first time and every time. And that is what I think is the most important thing in business. I was a business consultant for 20 some odd years, and I'd go into businesses and correct this and correct that, and it always seemed like things would come undone after my team left. And I realized that it was the individuals, not necessarily the process. And I looked at my whole life, even prior to business, and things that occurred in my life about making decisions about people. And I realized, okay, good, this is a problem for people. Everyone's got trouble with this. And any business owner you ask them about hiring, and they go, "Oh, man, I hate hiring." And so I said, okay, I gotta start coming up with a solution to this. And that's why I wrote the book, is to help business owners expand their businesses with like-minded people who get excited about their business and help them grow it, so that eventually the business owner can pull out of the business, go enjoy the things that they want to do in life, family and friends and other business activities. that's the whole reason why the Naked interview was born.
Before, and I don't even, honestly, I don't even know how long your book's been out, and I apologize for that, but it's been a few years, right?
Yeah, it's been since 2012, well, 2013.
Okay, so that's why I thought it was right around then. So what are, I mean, prior to writing this book, I mean, you didn't just like, you weren't just born like this hiring expert guy, I'm assuming. Like, prior to writing this book, and we only have about another minute here before we take a break, so I'll probably have to interrupt you, and we'll pick back up. But prior to writing this book, about what qualifies you to be the hiring expert?
Wow. I mean, I think the biggest thing is it's all of the experience in hundreds of businesses, talking to business owners, and then solving it by finding the right person and watching their companies just soar. That showed that I knew exactly what I was talking about. Boom. How's that for less than 1 minute, actually?
That was pretty good. You actually left me with about 30 seconds to fill. But, I mean, I know that you were, and we'll talk about this when we come back from the break, but I know that you were, you've ran some pretty big companies as far as helping build some teams, and I mean big companies. So, and obviously me as a small business owner, I always want to grow into a big company. So look, we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back with more from David Lee Jensen. Hi, welcome back to DigiLEAD TV. Ken Walls here. I'm on with the hiring expert, the author of The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. Mr. David Lee Jensen is here with us. I want to thank you again, David, for joining us. I really appreciate this, man. This is awesome. So,
Thanks for having me.
hey, from my perspective as a business owner, I know this, okay? I know that I know how to communicate effectively with my clients. I know how to sell new products. I know how to get new business. I know how to do payroll. I know how to do all the tax stuff. I know how to do all these things, right? But I also know that I cannot scale my company to this dream, this big, ginormous dream and goal that I have, without bringing on like good, solid salespeople that are, not going to flake out, that are going to stay in the game and push, and like Grant Cardone talks about, 10x and blow shit up and all, I mean, so all of these things, I know how to do that. But one of the biggest challenges that I have is I'm busy running every other aspect of my business, and it's very difficult for me, it's been to hire the right salespeople. And, my internal team, my core team, the creative admin, everything, I mean, they are just, I've been blessed, man. I've got an amazing team. I've got Amber's my assistant, and she does our social media stuff, and Rye Guy, the video guy, and Dom is my head of graphic design. I've got Phil that handles programming and project management, and then I sell. and there needs to be more than I sell. I need more. I need more people. I need to know how to motivate and better train all that. And I think that a guy like you may have the answers. So I have a couple of questions for you. You ready for this? All right. So, and people keep seeing me look down. I've got the laptop set up down here on my desk as I'm looking up at the camera. So, but the very first question is this: how do you know? And is there a major indicator? Is there one way, or is it a multitude of ways? How do you know it's the right person to hire?
Oh, now that's a broad general question, man. That is.
I figured.
I wrote an entire book on that. Okay. So.
But are there a couple of yeah, are there a couple of like serious bullet points that you would throw out there that like, green lights and I'm thinking more along salesperson at this point in my business, but I'm sure that you cover every type of hire, but are there a couple of key points that you want to look at?
Yeah, I mean, sales guys, there's one word answer. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hungry.
Mm.
That's the one word answer. Hungry. I mean, any salesman worth their weight in shirts and shoes and fancy suits would rather work on commission than on a base. Would rather work for anybody selling anything that they have an unlimited income potential because they're hungry, because they want to get out there and they want to, be the best salesman they can possibly be. They want to overcome everybody who's competing against them, and they want to go out and crush it as a sales guy. That's where you're going to have amazing salespeople. Guys who are hungry, guys who play games with themselves, play games with others, guys with a little bit of a dominant, destructive, attitude that they're king of the world, and they apply, the 10X rule. They apply, just their own personal demand for a higher standard. They care about what they look like. They care about what they act like. They care about their communication.
Right.
And most important, what they care about is they care about other people. And that's a difference in salespeople. Sometimes you'll find the guys who are, the used car salesmen who come in and they're all like, oh, yeah, I can sell ice Eskimos, and I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do that, I. It's all about I. And that's a difference between a hustler and a hungry sales guy who's like, I want to help as many people as I possibly can. I want to get out there and I want to help people. I want to help so many people avail themselves of your product that I make millions of dollars. And the more I help myself, the more people I'm helping. That's a big difference between a hungry sales guy who only cares about himself. You see the difference?
Oh, you know what? That was the most beautiful answer I could have received. That was awesome. Love it, man. Seriously. Because you know what? These are all things that we've recently talked about in my company. Everybody here, we've talked about, what are the elements of a good sales guy, and what are or saleswoman or whatever. What are the, what exactly is? I think that from my perspective, because I'm a huge goal writer. I write my goals as Grant Cardone says, write them in the morning and write them at night. I write my goals twice a day, and one of my goals always, the 10X rule. One of my goals always has to do with the type of sales team that I want to build and globally and all of that stuff. And so the elements of hiring the right salesperson, I think, not just for me, for anybody. I mean, even you mentioned a used car sales guy. That's why anytime I haven't owned a business and I worked somewhere as a salesperson, I was always the top salesperson because I genuinely cared about my customers, and they knew that, and I took really, really good care of them. So, but to scale a business, you've got to have more than just the business owner selling if you want to scale up. Am I right about that or not?
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, there's another guy who's on the entrepreneurial scene. This guy, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you've heard of him. At Gary V-E-E. Gary Vaynerchuk wrote this book, The Thank You Economy. It's a follow-up to his awesome project. You notice I got a whole bunch of books.
I love it.
Today.
Love it.
Because I knew you were going to ask about a couple of these things. But the Thank You Economy, I saw Gary speak at an event that we did, and he said that today's sales economy, you can get an email that says, I'm going to give you this multi-million-dollar house for $4, and what are you going to do? You're going to click delete because we're so sick and tired of being spammed.
Right.
And it's just a totally different culture now where we're just jaded, right?
Right.
And so tomorrow's sales culture, which is now today, is a handshake and a smile just like it used to be with our grandfather.
Right.
And that our grandfather would outsell most of the millennials nowadays because he would give a good, honest handshake, look somebody in the eye.
Hey, David, we got to take a really quick break. Sorry to cut you off. We'll be right back. Hey, Ken Walls, DigiLEAD TV, welcome back, welcome back. I've got David Lee Jensen, the hiring expert, the best-selling author of The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. David was just talking about, right before we went to break, he was talking about, an event that I think you did with Gary Vaynerchuk, right?
Okay. Absolutely. Gary, the author of The Thank You Economy and Crush It,
right.
And Jab, 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 Left Hook.
Right. So, we're talking about some of the sales, the salespeople hires and stuff like that. But, let me ask, and was there anything else that you wanted to cover from that last segment?
Just that, the real key is that personal care for an individual, hard selling somebody because you care about them, not just, because you want to make a buck, but actually, making sure that that person gets what's going to be best for them. And if you can do that and you can actually care about them, then it doesn't matter how hard you push them. And now you can call them 7 or 8 times, 5 or 10 times, and you can say, look, this is going to change your life. This is going to make a difference.
Right. Because
you believe that and you do know it's true. You're going to sell multi-million dollars. I've been in the sales industry for many, many, many years, and the only thing that sells is true caring about another.
Amen. I agree with that 1,000%. So, one of the questions I have to ask you is, if you're in a business that requires salespeople and administrative people, what's the most important questions to ask them to know if they're the right hire or not? And I know in your book you've got 10, help me out here, you wrote it, huh? Yeah, 10 truths. Thank you. So are there a couple of questions that, we'll go back to the salesperson, because honestly, this would even help, I think, because, this is on Grant Cardone's network. A lot of salespeople watch this and a lot of business owners. So, this is not just going to help me and other people as a business owner hire salespeople, but maybe also help wake up some salespeople to get them out of their own BS and help them find the right job and the right fit. Does that make sense? So what are a couple of as a business owner, what are a couple of key questions that you think should be asked to a salesperson up front?
There are a million and one different questions you can ask, and I sell a hiring course and a hiring academy.
Sure.
And a crash course, all sorts of different things. You can definitely read the book. I can tell you that there are a couple of things. I ran a sales organization. I ran a merchant services, credit card sales, highly competitive business, dealing with, we grew the company to $2.5 billion. I had a whole lot of sales guys. And
billion.
What's that?
$2.5 billion with a B.
Yeah, with a B.
Wow.
$2.5 billion in transactions were, coming through, and the company doing, multi-million-dollar profit base. So
right.
All of that came down to sales guys, and where you said, there's administrative guys and there's sales guys as well. You got to make sure that you value your sales guys right up at the top.
Right.
Because the administrative guys, all of that support team, they're working so that sales guy can make the best possible sale, and that you can deliver the best possible product to your customer, and that everyone's happy. So you're really supporting each other. That sales guy is paying your paycheck, and so you better value him. You better take care of him.
Yeah.
So that then he goes out and gives the best service to the customer, right? And we always treated it that way with our sales guys.
Right.
Always treated it that way. And when I hired guys, I have a whole list of, steps I think you should take, and my 10 truths. They're not the only 10 truths, because they're the 10 things that I thought worked best over my years of experience. And you may have some other little, tricks or routines. It's not like I'm the only person who knows how to hire people out in the world, right? Or you can run an entire reality TV show on doing it as well, right? We've seen that work.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So hiring is really about finding somebody who's going to care enough about the product and be hungry enough that, there's a balance, that they work really, really hard and that then they succeed and that they want to continue to succeed,
Right.
And when you bring somebody in who's got that caliber of personality, it's got that caliber of character, right? It's that true caring about somebody is a character point. There isn't just a magical question. It's a lot about testing them and talking to them and bringing them back for multiple interviews. Don't just bring them in once and because they got on a nice, boss suit and a, Gucci tie that, they're the first person you hire. Make sure that you bring them back a couple times and see that they continue to respect you, respect the organization, respect the idea of servicing your clientele. And once they've proven that multiple times, then that's somebody to bring onto the team.
Right. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I think, again, this is unbelievably valuable information. I think that, everybody, and I told you that I started reading the book. I've been a little bit buried, but I've started reading your book, and it literally right from the beginning, it hooked me, and it's a freaking phenomenal book. So I'm looking forward to finishing the book myself. I think everybody that owns a business out there should probably buy this book and read it. And if I'm sure there's some nuggets in here for people who are looking for a job as well, and how to handle an interview. Just kind of reverse engineer the book, right?
Yeah, well, there's two ways. One is the last chapter is actually written for people who are interviewing. It's interviewing from the other side of the desk. So
Nice.
I do have an entire chapter with 10 truths of how to get the job, how to land the job.
Awesome.
Just a little secret is I have a new book coming out that is the actual that chapter taken into a full book. So that's coming in first quarter 2016.
Nice.
Look for it. It's called Hire Me or Else.
Nice. All right. Love it. We just got a big secret exposed on my show. I love it. Love it.
I'm really excited about it because college students are, there's only like 23% of college students get hired out of college. And I want to change that and help change the economy of the U.S. by giving people an opportunity to get hired and do the jobs that they want to do and love them.
That's awesome, dude. I love it, man. And I know you personally. I've gotten to know you over the last month or so, and I truly believe that about you. You definitely want to help people. I know that. So I have one last question. It's kind of going to end this on hopefully a funny note. But I've had some unbelievable interviews. Like, I don't mean like unbelievable as in they're the most qualified person in the world. I mean some of the most ridiculous people or things happen. And I know you've been out there a lot more than me as far as interviewing and talking to companies about their interviews and stuff. And I just wonder, what is the most bizarre interview that you've ever been in or heard about?
Wow, the most bizarre interview I've ever been in or heard of.
Don't name names.
I wasn't prepared for that question.
Okay.
Most bizarre. People tell me stories about hiring all the time.
Right.
Absolutely blow my mind. Things that you could not even fathom or imagine.
Right.
Literally, I personally have had an interview with a potential sales guy who, during the interview, in the middle of a question, had his cell phone ring and said, "Hang on 1 second, Mom, I'm in an interview. I'll be down in a minute." What? And we're talking a 30-something-year-old guy whose mom had tripped him to the interview, and he took a phone call from her in the middle of the interview.
Oh, no, man. Holy crap. That's unbelievable. I've seen it too, man. There's been crazy things happen. And, I think that, with the right information, and knowing how to address, from business owner perspective, knowing how to address interviews, come in today's world, and I forget the statistics, you may know it, but I've read statistics that the average 40-year-old will have had like 13 different careers or something ridiculous. Back in my grandparents' day, it was like, hey, you had one job for 40 years or 30 years and you retire and you die, and so that's just not the world we live in today. So, I think that from a business owner's perspective, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I've got a phenomenal product, I've got a phenomenal service at a phenomenal price. But this guy could go get a job anywhere in sales if he's any good, right? So I always keep that in the back of my mind, like, to do what you were saying, and that's try to treat my salespeople and staff with the utmost respect and reward them and gifts and all of that stuff. So anyway, listen, man, yeah, go ahead.
Production, though, make sure that you reward them for production. I always caution, and you and I talked about this briefly too, is not just random gifts, not just like, pandering to them, but for production. They make, high sales statistics. That's when then they get rewarded. You make sure that they work their butt off, and then you give them that extra attaboy.
You're right. I agree with that. I agree. And I may have once or twice made that mistake. Hey.
I wouldn't be preaching about it unless I had made the mistake myself and went, wow, that didn't work.
Yeah, right. Pain is the predecessor of all wisdom, my friend. So anyway, listen, David, I really genuinely appreciate you being on today's show. Man, you're a true baller. You're a 10Xer. I know that you and your wife, I know your wife, you guys are just freaking awesome, man. You're awesome, and I appreciate you being here. And for everybody watching, David Lee Jensen wrote this book, The Naked Interview, Hiring Without Regret. Go buy this, read it. It's literally not a difficult read. It's a quick read. Couple hour read. So get that book, read it. It'll change the way that you hire. It'll change everything in your business. David, thank you again. I appreciate you being here. Tell everybody where they can follow you and what your website address is.
Yeah, you can follow on Twitter at David Lee Jensen. Twitter, I do Periscope every now and again at David Lee Jensen. And my website is davidleejensen.com. Real simple, Jensen. And if they want to know about hiring, the Hiring Crash Course, Hiring Academy, that's all at hiringacademy.com. But it all begins with the book, The Naked Interview. You can get it on Amazon, iTunes Bookstore, Million Books, Barnes & Noble. It's been a bestseller for a couple years. I've been real blessed. The content is amazing. Use it, and it'll change your business life.
David Lee Jensen, folks. I really appreciate you being here, brother. I'm Ken Walls, CEO and founder of Client Solution Innovations. As you know already, you can follow me on Twitter at CEO_CSI. Grant keeps giving me crap about that. I may change that someday. But for now, it's at CEO_CSI. Visit our website, clientsi.com, and check out our Facebook and our DigiLEAD TV Facebook account and Twitter account. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, David Lee Jensen, for being here. You guys go out and have a freaking awesome weekend, and we'll catch you next week.